Hey guys. So I'm on the hunt right now for a possible leak. Actually, two possible leaks. I'll explain in a second. But for the first one, oh, Bella, a water leak. We got a notice from the water company that it was excessive water usage in the last 8 hours. They said that we used 1,500 gallons in the last 8 hours. That seems excessive. So the first thing I thought of immediately was the hose that comes down here to put water in Daisy and Bella's bowls. And sure enough, I had forgotten to go turn it off at the spigot, and so we have a fairly decent sized wet area from this dripping. But could that be 1,500 gallons? I have no clue. So I'm going to go around the property and just check all the water spots, because they want us to report this as usage or leak. I don't know which I'd rather it be. I don't think they're going to give me a break on the bill for a leak unless the leak is on their portion, which I don't think that would be, because then it wouldn't have gone through the meter. So we'll start up in the cottage garden. However, the watering system has been turned off because we've had some rain and it's been cold. So we go here to the riser and the control box, and I mean, there's a little dampness there, but that's normal. I'm thinking 1,500 gallons, it's going to be noticeable. So we'll go over to the vegetable garden and see what's going on over there. So I can see that the watering has been done. The beds are wet, but no wetter than normal. And there's no leak at the controls. And there's a little wet area here, but that's normal from drippage from the control box here. All right, so the only thing that could be the culprit is Daisy's corral. 1,500 gallons right here in this spot that's about 6 feet by 6 feet. I just don't think so. So I guess we'll report it as a leak? I don't know. Okay, the second leak is a Bella leak. When I came out here this morning, she met me at the door, and it took me a couple minutes to realize, wait a minute, you're supposed to be in the pasture. How'd you get out? So I put her back in, and I've been waiting for her to try to get out again. I do see that there's been a little bit dug out right here under the gate, and I think it's big enough for her to squeeze through, but she hasn't been trying it. I'm just going to sit right over here and see what she does. While I'm waiting, oh yeah, some of you asked if that was my painting back there in the background. It is. It's not finished, but usually I paint indoors where this Christmas tree is, but we had to move the easel, so I just flipped it outside here. It always inspires me when we get back from Hawaii to do paintings like that, tropical, underwater. Anyway, what was I saying? ADHD got me again. And that's the thing with that water down there. It's the ADHD. Because as I'm down there, I have to turn on the spigot way up here at the house, and the hose runs all the way down to the corral where I can turn it on and off with a little nozzle. So I turn it on up here, run down there, open the nozzle, fill everything up, shut the nozzle, and then my plan is to come back up here to the house and turn it off. And between there and here, almost every single time, I forget. So I've been meaning to put a spigot down there. We have a water pipe that runs close to that, so I can just branch off of that, put a spigot in, and then not have this problem. So that moves to the top of the list. It's not coming out. Why? I don't want to call her, because that would be mean. I'll go up and feed the chickens, and maybe she'll get jealous that she's not with me and try to escape. She's just following along the fence, though. Today's job is going to be cleaning out the cottage. What a mess. Mostly pots, hay, which is going to stay, but mostly pots and a few other things. But I need to get it cleaned out because I'm going to be building the rabbit hutch this week in here. We've already got the wood for it. I just need to make a space. I didn't figure she'd make this easy on me. So today I'm going to let Daisy out early to graze, and hopefully I can get her to let me sit down by her like before, and hopefully I'll get you guys to be able to see that on camera. I did catch another gopher up here yesterday. I noticed that there was some gopher activity right up to this tree, and even a little bit right here next to it where they were actually chewing on this side of the roots. So I immediately got 3 gopher hawks, put them in the ground, and within a couple of hours, I had it. And I'm grateful. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Here's 2 more fresh hills since yesterday. I think they're coming under the driveway from this land up here. The thing is, if I hadn't been up here so much, I don't come to this area a lot, but having Daisy grazing up here, I've been here, and it's fortunate I did because this tree would have been dead. These 2 liquid ambers were planted before I knew how to really make a gopher basket. And so I used chicken wire, which is almost already rusted away. So these 2 trees are not protected. If I hadn't been up here, at least this one would be gone. But now that I'm seeing so much gopher activity in this area, I think once these 2 trees go dormant, which they're almost already there, I'm going to dig them up and replant them with protected gopher baskets. Because the usage of this area has shifted slightly in the last 2 years, or a year and a half since these have been here, I'll probably reposition them just a little bit. A lot of you were asking in the last video how the gopher hawk trap that I use works, so I'll show you. And I really feel that that has been really my saving grace to the gopher problem. Most everywhere else on the property is gopher free, and it's not because of Scar, because Scar, our barn cat, sleeps under the solar panels during the day, all day, and maybe comes out at night, but I have not found any kills that he has made in the last 2 months. Since Bella arrived, he pretty much stays on the roof. So he's a freeloader at this point. Now, one of the reasons this has been so successful for me is diligence and acting quickly. Like I just saw those 2 mounds, I'm getting on it right now because I'll forget if I don't. And by that time, they could have dug another 6 feet and have gotten one of these trees or something else. And this is not a sponsored video, but you guys asked, so I'm showing it to you. And this has been a complete game changer for me. So the gopher hawk trap consists of 2 pieces, the trap itself and the probe. So the first thing you do is you take this piece out of the probe and, well, it's a smaller probe, you probe in the ground. So typically the gopher mound will be in a horseshoe shape, and these are kind of not. I think this piece of wood was in the way, and now Bella's messed this one up. When it is in a horseshoe shape, there'll be a horseshoe and then kind of a hole or a plug right in the middle of that. You have to imagine when the gopher is digging, he's kicking out the dirt into that horseshoe shape. So you're going to look the opposite direction of that horseshoe to find the tunnel. Since the horseshoe shape is non-existent, I'm just going to probe around until I feel the probe slip through really easily and then hit a dead end. All right, so I'm going to put the first one here. So put the big probe on, stick it right back down in, and then wiggle it around, pull it out. Now the trap is springy. You want it to be completely open, out. You want to see this yellow bar. Push it down into the hole until you hit the bottom, brace it here, and pull up on the black piece. Do not push down on this. And I'm going to take some of this dirt and just pack it in just to kind of secure it a little bit. Now I could stop there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put 2 more traps. I have found that putting out 3 traps every time, he's going to at least hit one of them. So it looks like he traveled right along this piece of wood. He's actually under this piece of wood. So this is going to go in kind of at an angle. tell that you hit the right spot when this fat probe goes in. Bella's smelling something moving under the ground over here. Oh, wait. It's a cricket. Never mind. So now with these 3 set, all we have to do is wait. It's kind of like fishing, except for me, this is even more satisfying than fishing. It's 9:45 a.m., so we'll see how long it takes, and I'm hoping it's quick because I just noticed some gopher mounds by my avocado tree. Now, I'm not super worried because I do have this in a nice, brand new, proper gopher basket. I did a video about a gopher basket. Was it on this channel or Next Level Gardening? I'll link it down below on how to make a gopher basket. But these gopher baskets will last for a very long time. But you can see this nice, wonderful dirt that's been kicked out by a gopher. Probably trying to find a way into that basket. Not sure how the first several minutes of this video turned into gopher hunting, but hopefully everyone will learn something. And now I'm remembering that whole segment was an ADHD moment because I was talking to you about Daisy coming out here to graze today, and that I was going to get her out here earlier, so hopefully we'll get it on camera of me being able to sit with her. So I bought this rope to lengthen her lead so that she could stay tied up and reach a wider area of grass. The thing is, I've exhausted along the fence. There's a bunch out here she can eat, but I need to stake her out here in a way where she can't get to these 2 trees, or I won't have to worry about the gophers taking them out. She'll just push them right down. So I'll probably put a stake in the ground somewhere out here and tie her to that. Now, there were several of you who asked, why don't I just let her go out there in the pasture? Why do I keep her on a lead? And that's basically because, well, 2 reasons. Number 1, this area hasn't been filled in yet, and there are a lot of holes and logs. She could get her legs stuck. I just don't feel comfortable with her out here with all of that. She'd probably be fine. I know people let their cattle go into the mountains to graze, but just being overly safe, I guess. Secondly, the only thing between her and escaping to the outside world are these little electric lines. Can you even see them? Now, she has touched them and been shocked, and but she was on a lead, so I don't know if she would just kind of barrel her way through there real quick if she was running and all of a sudden she's out and the shocking's been done. So for me and her safety, at least in my opinion, I think it's better to let her out gradually on a lead as much as I can until all of this is filled with dirt and we have it planted with grass. And at that point, there will be no need for the hole in the fence anymore, so we can close that up because we don't need dump trucks to deliver dirt anymore. So both of those problems will have been solved. And I'm really hoping to have that done by March. All right, it's 10 minutes later, and we don't have any action yet. And yes, I was the kid that reeled my line in every 5 seconds to make sure there was no fish on it. And one thing I maybe haven't mentioned is, in a way to be a little more self-reliant and self-sufficient, this large pond here, I'm planning on stocking with fish like tilapia so that we can go fishing right here on the property. Good girl, Bella. All right, so I got this tool out and used it, and I'm gonna do something completely unheard of and put it away. Yesterday's job was to clean out the shed, and I kind of did it. It's pretty clean in here, but right outside the shed, not so much. But I need Noah to help me put a shelving unit in here. I have to wait till he gets home for that. So now, while we let Daisy graze and while we wait for the gophers to hit the traps, I'm gonna go clean out the cottage. But I gotta check the traps one more time. They're all still untripped. I didn't know I made the rope long enough for Daisy to get right up to them. I mean, that's not gonna hurt anything, I don't think, unless she's just... Bella, you leave that tree alone. Bella. Thank you, good girl. We'll see. I'm not gonna bother Daisy. I forgot to tell you guys a really funny story. The other day when I had her out and I was hoping to get on camera, me sitting with her, but I wasn't able to leave her out that long. In fact, she wasn't even out a full hour, and she's been used to like 3 to 4 hours at a time, but it was gonna be getting dark and we had somewhere to be. We had to go to Noah's basketball game, I think. So I put her back in the corral, which wasn't easy. She was dragging the whole way. Once I got her back in, I shut the gate and she threw a toddler temper tantrum. She started stomping her feet and swinging her head and snorting. I brought the wheelbarrow in because I wanted to pick up the poop before I left, and she was like butting the wheelbarrow, trying to turn it over. All I could do was just laugh. It was hilarious. So I'm not going to bother her today. I'm going to let her have as much time as she needs out there. Okay, I've gotten it cleaned out. I've got my wood in here, and I've got this area flattened out, and I've already pre-cut some of the wood that I need shorter. This ground here was so uneven because there were 2 pallets here, and squirrels had gotten underneath and built all kinds of tunnels, so I was sinking in as I was walking, and there were mounds up where they'd pulled the dirt out, so I had to flatten that out, but now it's ready to build. I'm going to make this really easy. It's going to be a 4x8 hutch, 4 feet tall, 4 foot deep, and 8 feet long, so it should fit exactly in this area. I'm going to build it in such a way where I can double the height. So if I wanted to make a second story on top of it, I can do that. Right now, there's going to be 2 rabbits in here, Grams and S'mores. There are 2 mini Holland lops. Anyway, they are in 2 separate large dog crates at the moment. That's their housing. And they're pushed up next to each other. So they are there, they know each other, but when we put them together, they tend to fight. Now, I don't know if that's going to be an ongoing thing. So I am going to make a door at each end of the hutch and be able to divide down the center if they just don't get along. My goal would be they get along, they go through a getting used to each other period to be in the same space, but then they get along. If not, then I have a backup plan. So let me get started. Okay, quick break because Daisy's laying down. I did it. She did it. We did it. All right, it's the next day, and nothing to report yet on the gophers. Traps are still just how they were, so this could be due to a couple things. Number one, those mounds were actually older than I thought they were. Maybe they were from the one I already got. Number two, Bella and Daisy were out here, possibly moving around, disturbing. He might have retreated back across the lane. I don't see any new activity, so I'll keep my eye out. I'll keep these traps out for sure. I realized that I didn't show you how these work, actually. So underground, once they're set, there's this noose. And then once they get tripped, it pulls in and grabs whatever's there. Quick, painless, and effective. So a good friend of mine delivered 3 hay bales yesterday. 3 different kinds. I'm going to try. The hay bale that we had been using was from the breeder, and they're not selling that kind. So I got 3 different kinds to try and see what she will eat. This bale right here is Bermuda grass, which initially I was concerned about because I didn't want the seeds from the Bermuda grass growing in the pasture. But I was assured that there are no seeds in this bale. We also have a bale of alfalfa and a bale of orchard grass. Now, in terms of the hay, grass hay, alfalfa is not a grass, so that's just for extra nutrients. That'll be added to whatever hay I give her on a daily basis. The orchard hay is actually $5 a bale more than the Bermuda hay. And the guy at the store said cows don't like Bermuda all that much. However, I gave Daisy some yesterday and she ate it up just fine. So I have heard that Dexter cattle are less picky about their food sources than maybe a Jersey. Up here in the cottage, it's time to resume work on the rabbit hutch. I stopped at this point yesterday because I was waiting for the wire for the bottom. Now, before you start screaming, for some reason, I didn't know this. I've had rabbits off and on my whole life, and we always had a wire floor with some wood that they could choose where they wanted to sit. And generally, it was on the wire floor. There's plenty of studies to show that rabbits actually can be healthier on a wire floor if it's the right kind of wire. So I got a 14 gauge galvanized 1 inch by 1/2 inch squared wire for the bottom. I'm also going to give them some wood areas that they can get on and they can choose where they want to be. In the summer, for sure, when it's hot, that's the biggest problem for keeping rabbits is summer heat. They get through winter cold very, very well, especially here. But summer heat is what's going to kill them. And when you have a wire floor, you get a lot more ventilation in the summer. So that's the plan, but I had to wait until I could get the right wire because it's not available everywhere. So that wire will go on the bottom. I need one more support right there. And then I've got black chicken wire to go around the sides. And I'm still debating what I want to do with the top. Chicken wire isn't as secure as something like hardware cloth, but they are going to be in here in the cottage. Plus we've got a guard dog outside. So larger predators that could, tear through that wire, they're not going to be here. So I'm going to start cutting the wire, and it would be great if I could get this almost finished today. Okay, so ran into a little bit of a snag. We're gonna have to go back to Lowe's. So let me show you what we've done so far. It's all leveled out. So I put the bottom on some stepping stones just to make it more sturdy rather than being on dirt. So the plan is that it will be a wire floor till this cross piece here that I just put in. And then from the front to this cross piece, we're going to use some kind of washable platform material. We're going to go look at Lowe's and see what they've got. Something that if there's poop on it, we can just lift it up and the poop will run out through the wire. But also a solid floor if they choose to sit there. So I was hoping to finish this on this video, but I already know this video is fairly long already. And so hopefully on the next video, and I say hopefully because over the last few hours, I've been feeling like I'm getting a sore throat. So I'm really hoping that's not the case. I don't have time for something like that. So fingers crossed it isn't, and I'll just be able to pick this up tomorrow, start filming the next video. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you next time.